Beloved soul, take a moment right now. Breathe slowly and allow yourself to settle into this space, because what is being placed before your eyes in this moment was not brought to you by chance. Heaven itself has guided your steps to this message at this exact point in your life. Something is shifting around you right now. It may feel quiet on the surface and almost invisible to your natural eyes, but the angels are declaring clearly that what is unfolding beneath the surface of your situation carries far more power than anything you are currently able to see with your own understanding. If you want the full truth about what happens when you stop chasing, take a moment and listen closely. You did not fight or beg. You did not send one final message trying to explain yourself or justify where you stood. You simply stopped. You stopped chasing and stopped directing your energy towards someone who had grown completely comfortable receiving it without giving it back in equal measure. And beloved, in that single, quiet and courageous decision, something ancient and deeply divine was set into motion that you may not yet fully understand. The person who once felt entirely certain of your presence is now standing inside an unfamiliar silence they were not prepared for. The warmth you extended so freely, the attention you gave so consistently day after day, and the emotional availability you offered without reservation, all of it has now been withdrawn. And they can feel that withdrawal not as drama or confrontation, but as absence. Absence, beloved, carries a kind of emotional and spiritual weight that words could never replicate or replace. Right now, whether you fully recognize it or not, they are thinking deeply. They are questioning and feeling things they never expected to feel, because for the very first time, they are encountering you without your energy holding everything together between you. And that changes the entire dynamic that once existed. When you stop chasing someone, the shift that happens is not loud or chaotic, but it is profoundly real on both a spiritual and psychological level. Before this moment, the connection between you was being sustained mostly by your effort, your messages, your emotional availability, and your consistent presence. That energy was flowing steadily in one direction, creating a one-sided momentum that kept everything moving forward. That momentum placed them in a space of emotional comfort, where they never had to deeply examine what they truly wanted. They did not have to make clear decisions about their feelings. They did not have to look honestly at their own heart. They did not have to confront what they genuinely desired from the connection, because your energy was filling every silence and answering every emotional gap before it could even fully form within them. There is a deeper truth here about the human heart. It is designed to seek, to choose, and to pursue meaning with intention. But when one person is doing all the seeking on behalf of both, the other person is denied the very process that creates real and lasting commitment. They were existing inside the connection without truly investing in it equally. And anything sustained by only one person cannot remain balanced for long. When you finally stopped chasing, that entire structure began to shift. Not because you created conflict or forced an ending, but because you removed the force that was holding an imbalance in place that was never meant to last. What once felt stable to them now feels unfamiliar and uncertain. And the human spirit is naturally unsettled by sudden uncertainty when something emotionally meaningful is involved. There is wisdom in the idea that the heart must be guarded, because everything we experience flows from within it. In stopping your pursuit, you began protecting your own heart, and in that space, clarity begins to rise. Before your silence, their attention was passive. They received your presence without effort, assuming it would always remain the same. But now your absence has changed that completely. Now their attention has become active. For the first time, they are noticing the space where your energy used to be. They are rethinking past conversations, re-evaluating moments, and sensing that something has shifted, even if they cannot fully name it. This disruption of certainty is what awakens deeper awareness. The mind becomes alert when something it relied on is no longer available in the same way. What once felt automatic is now being questioned. Your silence has created a pause where reflection is now taking place. And in that pause, truth begins to surface. There is also a deeper emotional principle at work here. People naturally normalize what is always available to them. But the moment that consistent presence is removed, awareness awakens quickly. Your absence has interrupted their expectations and created an inner gap that they now feel. They are re-examining how things unfolded, wondering what changed and whether something important has been lost in the process. This is how clarity begins to form, not through pressure, but through absence. In this space, imbalance becomes visible. What was once hidden by constant effort is now exposed. They are being led into a moment of reflection where they must see what was previously taken for granted. And this realization carries emotional weight because it removes the comfort of assumption. Your silence has also created a stillness where emotions are no longer being directed or softened by your presence. Now they must sit with their own thoughts without distraction. This is where truth becomes unavoidable. And in this process, the responsibility shifts. The connection can no longer move forward on your energy alone. Now their choices, their actions, and their willingness determine what happens next. And that reveals something important about character. A person who truly values connection does not allow silence to remain empty for long without reflection or response. At the same time, this absence reveals emotional maturity. Not everyone responds to distance in the same way. A grounded and emotionally aware person will sit with the discomfort rather than avoid it. They will reflect honestly instead of reacting from pride. They will ask themselves difficult questions instead of escaping them. But someone who is not yet emotionally mature may withdraw further, minimize the connection in their mind, or wait for old patterns to return instead of stepping forward with clarity. Their response becomes a reflection of their inner development. This silence also reveals genuine feelings. When constant availability is removed, what remains is what is real. If the connection was genuine, absence will deepen awareness and emotional recognition. They will begin to miss not just comfort, but your specific presence as an irreplaceable part of their experience. But if the connection was built more on convenience than depth, that too becomes visible through time and space. Either way, truth emerges. And truth, even when uncomfortable, brings freedom from illusion. This silence is also working within you. It is creating space for your own clarity to return. It allows your energy to come back to you instead of constantly moving outward. In that return, healing begins. Your mind becomes less overwhelmed. Your heart becomes more steady. Your intuition becomes clearer. There is strength in stillness, even when it feels unfamiliar at first. And finally, this process reveals what is not meant to continue. If a connection is not aligned with deeper purpose, distance will naturally expose that reality without force or conflict. What is not meant for you will no longer be sustained by imbalance. It will either transform into something mutual or quietly fall away under the weight of truth. And when something falls away, it is not punishment. It is protection. What leaves your life to create room for something greater is not loss. It is preparation for the real thing that is still on its way to you. In ways you may not fully understand yet, what is being removed is making space for what is aligned with your higher path. When your energy shifts and the pursuit ends, the person on the other side often enters a season of emotional and spiritual unsettledness, even if they appear calm and composed on the outside. They may continue their daily life normally, smiling, talking, and acting unchanged in front of others. But inwardly, something begins to stir. And there is a deeper truth here that is important to understand, because recognizing it will protect you from misreading what is quietly unfolding in the space between you and them. The first reaction they experience is rarely clear or straightforward. Instead, it shows up as a mixture of confusion, growing curiosity, and a subtle anxiety that slowly builds beneath the surface of their normal routines. It does not announce itself loudly, but it is persistent and difficult to ignore over time. Confusion is usually where it begins. They had become used to a certain emotional and spiritual rhythm between you, a predictable flow where your energy was consistently present and gently directed toward them in some form. That rhythm gave them a sense of stability, even if they never consciously noticed it or appreciated it at the time. When that familiar stability suddenly disappears, their inner world struggles to adjust. It feels like something important has been quietly removed without explanation. They begin asking questions repeatedly in their mind, trying to understand what changed. Why did this shift happen? What caused it? Was it something they said or did? Did something change within you, or did something change within them? These thoughts do not settle into clear answers. Instead, they move in circles, repeating themselves without resolution, creating a growing inner discomfort that becomes harder to ignore the longer it continues. What happens next, after the silence has fully settled and reflection has begun, is not determined only by circumstances. It is shaped by the inner maturity of the person who is now facing that silence. Your absence creates space, but what that space becomes depends entirely on their emotional and spiritual awareness. A person with genuine maturity does not react impulsively to that discomfort. Instead, they pause and turn inward. They become curious not only about you, but about themselves and their own behavior within the connection. When they feel the weight of the shift, they do not rush to blame you or build an explanation that protects their ego. Instead, they begin to reflect honestly on their own role in how things unfolded. They ask themselves how much they contributed to the situation. How openly did they communicate what they truly felt? How clearly did they express what mattered to them when they had the chance? Did they act with honesty, or did they hold back when action was required? This kind of reflection brings a quiet sense of responsibility that they may not have carried before. Rather than focusing only on what they might be losing, they begin to see what they did not offer when they had the opportunity. From that place of awareness, their response becomes more intentional and more grounded in truth. If what existed between you holds real value for them, they will move toward it again, not out of panic or emptiness, but from clarity and understanding. After you have surrendered everything to God and released the outcome, there is something deeper the angels want you to understand. Many people expect immediate resolution once they stop chasing and step into silence. They expect answers to appear quickly, changes to happen instantly, and clarity to arrive without delay. But life does not unfold that way. God works through seasons. Just as a seed placed in the ground does not become a tree overnight, what is being formed in your life takes time, care, and divine timing. What you are waiting for is being shaped in ways that only heaven fully understands. Do not mistake a quiet season for an empty one. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. In reality, much is taking place beneath the surface. There is work being done in the unseen, in the emotional and spiritual layers of your life. Things are being stirred, revealed, and gently confronted that may have been ignored for a long time. At the same time, you are being healed, strengthened, and prepared so that when what is meant for you finally arrives, you are ready to receive it fully, without fear or hesitation. There is also movement in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding your situation. What is not aligned is being removed, and what is aligned is being positioned carefully. Every step is being ordered in ways that may not be visible yet, but are unfolding with purpose and divine timing. If you feel led, share this with someone who is still holding on and needs this reminder. Scripture reminds us that the vision is for an appointed time. Even if it feels delayed by human understanding, it is not late. What is meant for you is already written and already set in place. It will not arrive early, and it will not be late either. It will arrive exactly when it is meant to. Trust this timing, even when it feels slow. Trust it even when silence stretches longer than you expected. Trust it even when emotions try to pull you back into chasing, explaining, or seeking closure on your own terms. In those moments, return to the reminder to trust fully and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge a higher guidance, and your path will be directed in ways you may not yet see, but are being prepared for you. There is also a deeper fear that quietly influences many people, especially in moments of silence. It is the fear of being alone. The fear that if one specific connection does not work out, nothing else ever will. The fear that this may have been the only chance, the best possibility, and that letting go means endless loneliness ahead. If those thoughts have entered your mind in quiet moments, understand this clearly. They are not coming from a place of truth or divine alignment. They are rooted in fear, and fear often tries to convince you to settle for far less than what is meant for you. There is a force that wants you to remain small, doubtful, and afraid of what comes next. But that is not the direction of your life's promise. You are not being led into emptiness. You are being guided into alignment, even if the path feels uncertain right now. One important truth to remember is that what is meant for you cannot be stolen, and what is not meant for you cannot be forced to stay. There is a protection around your life that you may not always see, but it is always working. Another truth is that loneliness is not your final destination. It is often a transition space where old attachments lose their hold and new clarity begins to form within you. In that space, something stronger is being built in your understanding of love, worth, and timing. Many people return to chasing not because they truly want to, but because fear whispers that silence means loss. Yet silence can also mean transformation. It can mean redirection. It can mean preparation for something far more aligned than what you previously understood. There is also a deeper emotional lesson hidden within this process. When you stop chasing, you begin to see what was real and what was only maintained through effort and imbalance. You begin to recognize where love flows naturally and where it only survives through constant pursuit. And in that awareness, you start to return to yourself again. Not the version of you that overgave or overextended, but the version that is grounded, calm, and no longer afraid of waiting. Because waiting, when guided by faith and patience, is not wasted time. It is formation. It is alignment. It is preparation for something that does not require you to shrink, chase, or question your worth. So even in silence, even in uncertainty, there is movement happening. There is work being done beyond what your eyes can currently see. And when the time is right, things will become clear in ways that feel natural, steady, and undeniable. Trust that what is yours is already on its way in its own timing.